Welcome back. Let's now go back to our leading story, which is the ruling this morning by the Cape Town High Court on the matter between Patricia de Lille and, of course, the DA. To further unpack this ruling, we have from our Pretoria studios Prof Somadoda Fikeni, who is a political analyst. Prof, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, was this just a cut and dry case, and what we saw was just a waste of monies over a simple issue of what we can term as a personal spat between the DA and de Lille? How would you interpret this ruling, Prof?
Well, I would simply say that procedural unfairness of the process was quite evident from the beginning. DA may say we do have a case for our member to answer. We have invested more time on that and make that process transparent. We will be open to all kinds of conspiracy theories, nations behind the scenes, or witch hunting. That has always prided itself by saying the rule of law has been calling for transparency. We have clumsy handling of this case. Surprising.
Very vindicated, saying that we do have a very effective and a fair judiciary. But let's look at the recent ANC court battles versus the DA ones. It seems these parties don't understand their own policies and party constitutions.
They may as well understand them, but what has happened is that the internal democracy and the consistency of disciplinary measures within the party are coming into spotlight, and they are finding themselves to be the source of most of these problems, because in the main, power has been personalized and institutions have been weakened when internal democracy within the parties is weak.
Look, Prof, the DA has also threatened an appeal, citing that the judge actually misunderstood the very party constitution we're talking about, but also announced that they will be seeking another motion of no confidence. Do you foresee any of these bearing any fruit, Prof?
I do think that DA is determined to get Patricia de Lille out of the way. If one fails, they will try something else, and they may make her so redundant and symbolic within their structures that she may decide to leave at some point. But the problem is the rule by law instead of rule of law. When law is used to get to a particular end, rather than subject everybody to that particular process of law in a fair and balanced manner.
Look, Prof, let's backtrack a bit before I let you go. The issues that have, of course, brought de Lille to this point, we still don't have much clarity on them. She still hasn't answered all the questions in relation to her misconduct allegations. And the DA is very mum about its internal findings on some of these issues, particularly on when we talk about some of those unanswered questions. That SMS that, of course, she sent to some of the bidders so that they can raise the score. Talk to us about some of these. Are we ever going to get clear answers?
I do think that a transparent process can give us some clear answers with all the forensic investigation that can back it up. But it looks like they are trying to manage this process politically in some degree of secrecy. And that is what is going to frustrate the process and lead to the public to second guess every other thing that is being done. It's not fair to the public, especially when these things were happening in a metro, which is a public entity.
Look, and in your opinion, Prof, what should the DA and de Lille be doing in terms of engagements at this time? I heard Natasha Mazzoni going on about the fact that she no longer has a DA mandate, and of course that if things are left as they are, she's not going to be representing the party. So what do you feel about these?
I do think that it's a very unfortunate thing at the time when Cape Town has been experiencing a drought crisis, and these parties, the parties facing elections, because not being able to resolve a straightforward matter by making the process transparent And if there is a case to answer, make the individual answer rather than try all different strategies, because at the same time, if she is not guilty and she has this cloud hanging over her head that she might have been involved in corruption, it is equally unfair for her when she goes to the other political project or any other NGO or next job.
So they should really sit down and come to and find a solution that's going to work for the both of them, even though it seems like de Lille might no longer be a member of the DA, Prof.
Certainly, it looks like she might technically be saying, I'm still a member until I'm removed in a fair process. But she cannot carry the mandate of the DA if a majority of its members and its leadership no longer trust her or no longer want her within their own ranks. And that ultimately impacts on governance of Cape Town.
But then, Prof, I mean, why is the DA still mum about some of its internal findings on some of these very questions that we've been asking? Particularly, I'm going to take you back to that one on the SMS.
It's possible that they may not be very comfortable that they have a solid case. But again, to say this is an internal process, you can imagine if an ANC were to say, no, the Nkandla matter is an internal process, or if any other councillor or MEC or minister of the ruling party were to say, no, we're discussing allegations of corruption internally as an internal matter, because that's not just a political matter, it's a governance matter.
All right, Prof, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your contribution. That is Professor Somadoda Fikeni, a political analyst in our Pretoria studios, with more analysis on the DA versus de Lille saga, the Cape Town High Court ruling in de Lille's favor early this morning. Peter?